From being an extremely talented director with 2 Academy Awards to almost exclusively playing righteous characters, here are Kevin Costner facts that would surprise fans. Now, it's no secret that Kevin Costner is an extremely talented actor. But did you know that he had some serious skills behind the camera, too? Costner's actually so good at what he does that he's even won multiple awards for this talent of his. And I'm not talking about just some average awards. I'm talking about Academy Awards. For those who don't know, winning an Academy Award is kind of like a badge of honor in Hollywood. It shows that a movie has been recognized by some of the industry's greatest professionals. That's no small feat. Now, our friend Costner here actually won both Best Picture and Best Director for Dances with Wolves. Isn't that incredible? The movie had featured a Civil War soldier who ends up meeting the local Sioux people and decides to join their gang. Costner's character helps them out in all their battles, all while learning about their culture and way of life. Dances with Wolves actually became one of the most honored films of the 1990s. Not to mention, the movie's success was super important in establishing Costner as a major creative in Hollywood. I mean, that's a pretty big deal. Costner was able to prove that he was not just a brilliant actor, he was just as good at directing and producing. But that's not where the list of skills the star can brag about ends. You probably weren't aware that he was just as skilled when it came to music. Kevin Costner is actually the lead singer and guitarist for his own band called Kevin Costner and Modern West. Yeah, he has a whole band named after him. Costner actually grew up playing the piano and guitar. He also spent a lot of his time singing in church choirs. After being encouraged to go for his musical passion by his ex-wife, Christine Baumgartner, the star actor decided to finally give it a shot. The country rock band was finally formed in 2007. Other than Costner himself, members of the band include Blair Forward, Park Chisholm, Teddy Morgan, John Koinman, and Larry Cobb. When it comes to songwriting, Costner is the band's main man, though they mostly write on love, loss, and the American experience. And they aren't afraid to explore other ideas. Their latest album, Tales from Yellowstone, features songs written from the perspective of his character in Yellowstone, John Dutton, the head of the Dutton family. One time, before they could perform, the main stage collapsed because of a thunderstorm. Sadly, the incident left 40 people injured and one woman even died. A charity auction was set up to raise money for her young sons. And let me tell you, Costner really stepped up. He donated a dinner with himself for $41,000. Later, an extra $10,000 came in after 2 guitars were auctioned off, one of which was signed by Costner himself. Wow, talk about being a true role model. But that's not the only fact you might have not known. Did you know that Costner was an avid sports owner? Yeah, not only do a lot of his films revolve around sports, but his personal life does too. If his roles in movies like Field of Dreams and For Love of the Game didn't make it clear to you, let me spell it out for you. Costner has a soft spot for baseball, and he's not a bad player himself. He spends some of his time in his hometown, attending the practices and games of the Texas Longhorns. At one point, he was a partial owner of an independent baseball team called Lake County Fielders. They were based in Zion, Illinois, and were a part of the North American League. Sadly, the fun didn't last for long. After playing for 3 entire years, the team disbanded in 2012. Although the disbandment was disappointing, it was one of the many moves Costner had made to build his $250 million net worth. And let me tell you, a lot of the decisions he makes in the world of business were actually very smart. If you're not convinced, you need to take a look at the companies he has invested into. Spoiler alert. Many of them focus on environmental conservation, so in his free time, he's actually investing in saving the planet. For example, back in 1995, he spent $24 million buying Ocean Therapy Solutions from the U.S. government. For those who don't know, Ocean Therapy Solutions is a company that knows a thing or two about cleaning up oil spills. And oh boy, did that investment pay off. Costner's company's services were used by British Petroleum when the Deepwater Horizon disaster hit in 2010. That too for a whopping $52 million. He also co-founded Westpac Resources to work on better tech for separating oil from water. His own company, Costner Industries, focuses on tackling the same problem. And as if that wasn't enough, Costner also teamed up with Water Planet to work on sustainable water reuse in 2017. How cool is that? Move over, DiCaprio. There's a new eco-warrior in town. But that's not the only thing that's interesting about Kevin Costner. Let me warn you, though, this next fact might leave you speechless. What if I told you that Costner actually had a good connection with Princess Diana? Yeah, you heard that right. We're talking about the Princess Diana. Thanks to Sarah Ferguson, Costner was actually able to talk to Princess Diana about the possibility of her starring in the sequel of The Bodyguard. Reportedly, his character in the film would have been saving Princess Di from all sorts of trouble, while also catching serious feelings for her. The star actor recalls her being super supportive of the idea. "I just remember her being incredibly sweet on the phone," said the star actor. Apparently, the princess was just a bit concerned about some of the more intimate scenes in the film. Costner believed her nervousness was only natural, considering her life at the time was very controlled. Yeah, he almost turned Princess Di into a movie star. Talk about creative thinking. But I guess when you look at Costner's youth, you'd realize that thinking outside of the box has always been his strongest suit. I mean, he literally built a whole canoe at the age of 18. And it gets crazier. Costner took a trip down the same rivers that Lewis and Clark explored back in the day. I'm talking about the same Lewis and Clark, who led of one of the most important expeditions in U.S. history, the Corps of Discovery. In the early 1800s, the team of explorers had gone on a very dangerous journey after being tasked to do so by President Jefferson. Today, Lewis and Clark are remembered as some of the biggest heroes in American history. Motivated by his love for history, with only $350 in his pocket, Costner decided to dive headfirst into the journey. And boy, did he enjoy it. Costner recalls meeting tons of strangers and staying at several campsites. But not everyone shared Costner's enthusiasm. His traveling partner got a bit upset with him at some point. But in Costner's own words, "What's a road trip if you don't get upset with who you're on it with?" Clearly, even at the age of 18, Costner definitely had some guts. Speaking of heroism, if you're a fan of Kevin Costner, this next fact is going to have your mind blown. Because I'm sure you didn't catch on to this. Costner usually plays extremely moralistic characters. You know, the kind of characters that have a very strong moral compass. Someone who knows right from wrong. Need proof? Let's break down some of his most famous roles. In Dances with Wolves, Costner plays Lieutenant John Dunbar, who's a man with deep moral conviction. In the film, he's willing to risk his own safety to protect his friends and stand up for what he believes is right. Ray Kinsella. Again, Kinsella is a man with great integrity and moral courage. He takes risks and follows his dreams, even when he faces ridicule. In this movie, Costner took up the role of Robin Hood himself. The film portrayed him as a hero of the people who is driven by his strong sense of justice. He even puts his own life on the line just to help others. See what I was talking about? It looks like the star actor just can't resist playing characters who stand up for what's right. Whenever he's playing a role, you'll notice the endless mentions of honesty, justice, and patriotism. Costner is clearly very influenced by traditional American values in a way that other celebs just aren't. And I guess that just might be what makes him so special to all his fans. It's what makes him so different. So there you have it, from almost exclusively playing righteous characters to being an extremely talented director with 2 Academy Awards. These were Kevin Costner facts that surprised fans.